Good afternoon, everybody. It is Friday, July 18th, 2025. This is a regular meeting of the Commissioners of the City of Rehoboth Beach. We're live at City Hall Commissioners Room, second floor. I'd like to call this meeting to order at exactly 2:00 p.m. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We'll do roll call of commissioners. Commissioner Mark Saunders.
Present.
Commissioner Suzanne Good.
Present.
Commissioner Ed Chernowski.
Present.
Commissioner Patrick Gossett.
Here.
Commissioner Bunky Markert.
Present.
Commissioner Craig Thier.
Here.
Mayor Stan Mills. So we have a full complement of the mayor and commissioners who are able to formally conduct business today. Thank you all for being here. Those that are virtual, thank you for watching, and thank you to those that are here in person today. We welcome your feedback, and the rules for public engagement are at the bottom of the agenda. Also want to remind everybody that support documents, those are documents that are supporting individual agenda topics, are embedded in the agenda when they're ready sufficient time ahead of the meeting, and you'll find those on the city website. I am going to change a sequence of new business today. We're going to go new business A, D, B, C, E, F. Essentially, I'm moving item D from its location on the agenda to the second position of new business. I want to remind the commissioners to be recognized and be given the floor by the chair before proceeding to talk. I'd also like to introduce staff that's here with us today, and that's City Secretary Ann Womack, City Manager Taylor Tedder, City Solicitor Lisa Boren-Ogden. We've got interns Raymond and Jillian. Thank you for being here. Lynn Cohen, Communications Specialist back there. Evan's off today, and Lieutenant Mark Sweet is here also. Thank you for being here today. And look right at her. I'm sorry, Jean Lee, Head of the Human Resources Department. Thank you. Sorry to miss you, Jean. With that, we're going to go to approval, correspondence, and I don't have any correspondence in front of me. With that, the next item is approval of minutes. We have 20 sets of minutes in front of us. I'm going to read them just one time. Executive sessions held on August 23, 2024, September 9th, 2024, October 18th, November 15th, both 2024, and May 16th, 2025. Regular meetings held on September 20, November 15th, 2024, and June 20, 2025. Special meetings held on November 18th, 2024, and January 31st, 2025. Special workshop meeting held on March 10th, 2025. Workshop meetings held in 2024 include April 8th, May 6th, June 10th, July 8th, August 5th, September 9th, October 7th, and November 4th, and in 2025, June 9th. Are there any corrections to point out in these 20 sets of minutes? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the 20 sets of minutes in front of us as they are in front of us.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ed Chernowski and a second by Commissioner Suzanne Good to approve the 20 sets of minutes before us. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? And the 20 sets are approved unanimously. With that, we'll move on to the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Here in the heart of the summer season, our police department has noted a concerning number of unsafe bicycle and pedestrian practices. Over the next 2 weekends, officers will aggressively educate bikers and pedestrians along Rehoboth Avenue about and enforce as necessary safe practices, including crossing the street only within crosswalks, wearing helmets, and having appropriate lights on bikes. Officers will hand out bike lights to riders without them. Absentee ballots. The deadline to request absentee ballots for the August 9th municipal election is noon on Friday, August 8th. Absentee ballots can be mailed upon request through August 5th, and after that, they'll need to be picked up at City Hall. In-person voting will take place from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday, August 9th in the Convention Center. Construction of the interconnect with Tidewater Utilities is still in progress. The interconnect should be operational within 2 weeks. The delay has been due to the vast differences between the utilities locate and field locate, as well as a key pipe not arriving when it was needed. A detailed update on the interconnect will be presented to the board at one of the August meetings. Canal Dock. As you're likely aware, that Canal Dock was reopened about a week ago. Wallace Montgomery will be on site July 31st, weather permitting, to perform the next detailed survey. And I hope that members of the community will join me at 2 p.m. next Tuesday, July 22nd, for the quarterly meet and greet, question and comment opportunity with the city manager. Instead of coffee and conversation, this will be an ice cream and conversation event, as that's what we'll be scooping out. We'll be in Cranberry Park at 3rd Street and Lake Girard from 2 to 3 p.m. on that July 22nd, Tuesday. And finally, street aid expenditures. This month, the city has paid $11,711.92 in street aid expenditures to Delmarva Power and $875 to Apple Electric. And I'm here for any questions you may have.
Any questions of the city manager up here? If not, thank you, Taylor. With that departmental report, you'll see the Alderman Court report, building and licensing, and police department reports are embedded in the agenda. And let me go backwards a minute, the city solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to provide an update on the Gaynor-Linehan versus City of Rehoboth Beach case. Commissioner Good has repeatedly requested an executive session to discuss the singular settlement offer put forth by counsel for the plaintiffs, Mr. Gaynor and Mr. Linehan. As the offer has been discussed publicly, it can be addressed. The settlement offer made by the plaintiffs demands the resignation of public officials who are elected by the voters. As the intent is clear, this offer merits no discussion and warrants no consideration by the full commission. Commissioner Good also continues to ask for the amount spent by the city to defend the lawsuit, arguing, I think, that legal fees are a reason to settle. To be clear, the legal fees are driven by the plaintiff's actions, the litigation they commenced, and the bills will continue to mount as the city must put forth a defense. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
The end of your report.
Yes.
Commissioner Good.
Mr. Mayor, in response to City Solicitor Ms. Ogden's statement, I would like to make a motion that either on Monday, August 4th, or shortly thereafter, there be a special meeting for those who are not compromised in their analysis of how to proceed with this lawsuit. Those who were not on this board in the period between April and August 2024 have never been consulted. I acknowledge that about a week after I demanded the information that should have been provided back on June 5th when this settlement offer was first put forth, about a week after the July 7th meeting, that is this past Monday, all of a sudden, all of the commissioners, not just those who had been in office when this tainted decision was made, all of a sudden were being informed of the details in the lawsuit. But we need to go beyond that. So I would like to make a motion that on Monday, August 4th, or as soon thereafter as can be arranged, that there be a meeting at which those who were closely involved with the hiring decision, that is in office in April 2024, recuse themselves and allow some a fresh look at the situation by those who have less invested in the decision itself. And this is imperative because the more we learn about how there wasn't sufficient highlighting of the unusual terms of that contract to those voting on it on Monday, April 4th, 2024, there definitely was a lack of information that I think we need to address. So may I have a second to have a meeting on Monday, August 4th, which would be in conjunction with the workshop, or perhaps Tuesday, August 5th?
Mayor, I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and second that motion. And the reason I'm going to second that motion is simply because as one of the individuals that Commissioner Good is referring to, right, one that is, as she describes, is not compromised, just using her terms, for me not to second that might portray to anyone that, you know, I'm not interested in discussing a settlement. Not interested, I don't want to say not interested, but appearing that I'm, you know, not, again, just kind of back to fiscal responsibility, right, and financial stewardship. So I'm going to go ahead and second that motion.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Suzanne Good and a second by Commissioner Craig Thier to schedule a meeting Monday, August 4th, or as soon thereafter, in the matter of discussing the legal case in front of us.
Mayor,
Yeah,
question, please.
yes.
Just so I understand from Attorney Ogden, that I have not seen the proposed settlement either, but the proposed settlement calls for certain officials to step down, is that correct? Did I hear you say that? I mean,
Yes, sir. The settlement offer requires that certain elected officials resign from their positions and agree never to seek office again.
I want to be clear on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor with a second. We'll do a roll call vote. Again, this is to schedule a meeting for Monday, August 4th, or as soon thereafter, to discuss the various details of the legal case. Commissioner Saunders,
No.
Commissioner Good,
Aye.
Commissioner Chernowski,
No.
Commissioner Gossett,
No.
Commissioner Markert,
No.
Commissioner Thier,
Yes.
and the mayor votes no, and the vote is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yes, and 2 no's, so the motion fails. We'll move on to that. You're done with city solicitor's report. We will now move on to departmental briefings with the Human Resources Director, Jean Lee.
Okay, so I don't have a presentation for you guys, but I just wanted to, for my annual HR report, hit on some things that have happened since the beginning of the fiscal year. We hit on HR stuff a lot during the budget, so I'm not going to dwell on any of that, just things that have happened since the beginning of the fiscal year. So I'm going to start with positions that we had empty at the beginning of the fiscal year that we have since filled. So our mechanic position and our wastewater operator positions have both been filled. Our new fourth body in our IT department filling the support technician position is anticipated to start on July 28th. He's just finishing up all his requirements to start, and then he should be here on board on July 28th. Our network engineer position, which was not filled at the beginning of the fiscal year, we are working on some solutions to decide if we need to fill that position or if that's an outsourced position. Being in that it would save us money if we outsource some of that. We don't necessarily need a full body here with benefits and everything for that. So the IT director has been working on the solutions there. So we aren't saying that we are 100% outsourcing and not filling that position. We're just looking at all our options and what will save the money, save some money for the city with our different options. The other openings that we had at fiscal year start were in the police department. We had 3 vacancies. 2 have been filled. They are currently in the police academy right now. And we just looked at more applications for the last position, and we're going to reopen that and start soliciting again for applications to fill the last police department vacancy. Vacancies since fiscal year start that we've had or are going to have are the wastewater superintendent. His official retirement date was July 4th. In that department, we did an amazing job of succession planning, and we were able to actually promote 3 people that we had been working on over the last few years, knowing he was leaving, and just fill a bottom level position. So we actually hired a wastewater equipment operator in that department and promoted 3 people. Our communications manager is retiring on August 8th. We are currently in the interviewing process for that. In a week and a half, we got a little over 40 applications for that position, and we've got some really good ones. So we're pretty sure we're going to fill that one pretty quick. The other person that will be leaving this year that we know is leaving is our finance director. He is leaving us at the end of the year. So we are working on getting that job description where we want it, all those details finalized, and that will be advertised shortly. We want a little bit of overlap in that position between the outgoing and oncoming person. Some other things to highlight that have happened over the last few months is we are reorganizing, rebranding, building and licensing, which Corey will talk about in his stuff, and he's talked to you guys about a little bit. With the departure of the director, Corey Shinko became the interim director for now, and him and I and the city manager have worked together to see what that department could look like. Do we need that body somewhere, or can we reorganize it with the bodies we have in different positions, different job descriptions, and shifting of some of the responsibilities? So we have it currently in that department. We broke up our building inspectors to a building inspector 2, which is Matt, and we made a building inspector 1 position, which is a combination of code enforcement and building inspector. And we promoted Amanda, who was one of our code enforcement officers, to that building inspector 1 position. She has a lot of learning ahead of her, but she is excited about the position. We kind of reorganized Scott's position as code enforcement, so he's going to take on extra duties there as well. And we've also worked on our permit technician position, and we are just going to continue to work through the rest of the positions in that department. Some other things to hit on: seasonals. We did really good with hiring seasonals this year. Most departments started with all the seasonals they wanted. We have lost a few here and there as we started. One thing we've always had issues with is housing for police officers or beach patrol. We did work with a local landlord this year. We were able to get some housing for police officers. We'll evaluate that at the end of the season, see what worked, what didn't work. Is that an option in the future? And that's something we'll continue to look at and work on. Another thing that we brought on board this in the last few months is Standard Insurance Company is who we have our long-term, short-term life insurance all through, and who will be doing our state insurance in 2026. They offered us guaranteed term life insurance that's optional for employees at employees' expense. So we partnered with them and brought that as another benefit option on board for our employees. We've also partnered with Leadership Techniques LLC, which is a local leadership company. We have a leadership group of about 20 people in the city that are all of our supervisors, managers, directors, all of that we want to provide more trainings, more opportunities for them to work together outside of just their day-to-day job to strengthen the city. So we've partnered with them, and our first training will be on July 24th. And then that'll be an ongoing thing forever, hopefully, with them. The other thing that I'm working on is an employee handbook. So I've kind of done an audit of the code. What's in the code? What are policies that we just have in general that might be written down somewhere, might just be word of mouth, that kind of thing. And we're putting together an employee handbook to bring the code and other policies together. So policies like smoking in a city vehicle, or just grooming standards, or things like that that aren't code-worthy but need to be written down somewhere. So we are working on our employee handbook, as well as auditing the code to see what we need to address in different places. So that should be something that we have available to our employees in the next few months. Any questions?
Any questions of Jean? Thank you, Jean. We appreciate it.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
Commissioner Sarnowski?
Gene, one question. I know the employee handbook doesn't need to come before the entire board, but is it your intention that the Personnel Committee would review it?
Yep, so my intention with the handbook is right now I'm doing most the edits in our staff meetings with department heads. I've asked them, is there anything you see on a daily basis or something that needs to be addressed? I've gotten lots of suggestions, so once I've got that in, I will actually have our labor attorney look at it to make sure there's nothing that I missed or anything that is contradicting to anything. And then once he looks at it, Taylor and the directors, and then I actually want it to go through our employee committee, make sure there's no issues that they blatantly see, or if they think we forgot something, and then the personnel, we'll bring it to the personnel committee, so everyone, every group has got to see it and agrees on it.
Great,
So.
thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, Jean. With that, we finished the department reports, board and commission reports. There's one provided by the Planning Commission. It's embedded in the agenda.
Sorry, can we back up for a second?
Commissioner Thayer?
Yeah, thank you. Just on the employee handbook, you're kind of going through your review there, and I just kind of want to catch the process. You were going to complete the update, then you were going to, what was the next step after that?
Have our labor attorney look at it, make sure there's nothing legally in there that shouldn't be.
Okay, is that something Ms. Borgen can look at?
I will have her look at it, but I would really like the labor attorney to also look at it, because there may be some wording in there that as a labor attorney, he's gonna catch quicker than maybe we would catch in person, amongst us.
Okay, and then after the attorney looks at it, it will go to,
Taylor and I and the directors, then we'll look at it.
Okay.
And then the employee committee. And then the personnel committee.
okay, great, thank you.
All right, thanks again, Jean. With that, we're going to move on to committee reports. The only committee report I have in front of me today is a report of the former Boardwalk and Beach Committee on seeking historical designation for the boardwalk and consideration of path forward. The Boardwalk and Beach Committee is comprised of the following members: Frank Cole, Steve Curson, Patricia Davis, Honey Fisher, Brian Hancock, Jimmy Horty III, and Howard Menaker. The chair is, interim chair is Mayor Stan Mills. This committee last met on June 20, 2025, and that's the last that they will ever meet because per direction of the commissioners, this committee sunset at that same meeting. But before they sunset, they put forward a recommendation that's embedded in the agenda. I think it's somewhat self-explanatory. Just a reminder, they were in front of you all many months ago, actually, seeking permission from the Board of Commissioners to seek historic designation for the boardwalk in 3 areas. One was the blue markers that are offered by and sponsored by the Delaware Archives that we have about town, that you see. The second was National Place of Historic Register, and the third was National Historic Landmark. And on June 20th, we had the following groups represented there for guest participants. A National Register Coordinator for the Delaware Division of Historical and Cultural Affairs was present. Also present was the Director of the State Historic Preservation Officer, Delaware Division of Historical and Cultural Affairs. Also present, Deputy State Historic Preservation Officer with the Delaware Division of Historical and Cultural Affairs. Also present, Historic Preservation Planner for Sussex County Council. Also present, Kate McKenzie and Rosemarie Patan of the Rehoboth Beach Village Improvement Association. And finally, as guest participants, Heidi Nastrom Evans, Executive Director for the Rehoboth Beach Historical Society Museum, in addition to members of the committee, of course. To make this brief, on the last page of the recommendation, it explains that they make recommendation to seek historic designation for the blue historic markers offered by the Delaware Archives, which tends to be an application type process. It's about 2 pages long. It's fairly easy. It's not real stringent. That's number one. The second recommendation was to seek status as a National Historic Place. That is much more involved and would take many more months. The blue markers might take 3 to 4 months to seek and get permission to go forward. The National Historic Places could take 6 months to a year, depending on how energetic the applicant is. Lastly, they recommended against seeking the National Historic Landmark. That's much more involved, and it's more for things like Mount Rushmore that are at the national recognition level rather than the local level. So what they're recommending, this committee, is to keep this going for the Board of Commissioners to talk about it a little bit and seek forming a committee or a task force that would include representative of the Rehoboth Beach Historical Society, a representative of the Village Improvement Association, a representative of Sussex County Historical Preservation Office, and others as determined by the mayor and commissioners. I will let you know that Heidi, the executive director of the museum, attended, and she's got a degree in historic preservation. And so she's a great find to have and on board, and she's willing to be on that committee. And she's also had experience in seeking historic designation, so she would be a very fine specimen for us. The VIA representatives I talked to after the meeting, they were cautiously reluctant. They would love to do it. They were concerned about how much time it would take. So a conversation needs to be had with them. And then a representative of the Sussex County Historical Preservation would like to work with us also. So what I suggest the next step would be that if the commissioners are amenable to forming a committee is for any of the commissioners that would like to chair this to approach me, and then we'll look into picking a chair, and I can work with that chair on what the next steps are moving forward. Are there any questions among the commissioners? Any questions among the public? Tom, let's hold on a minute. Let's make sure the microphone's on, Tom. Your name and
Tom Gaynor,
relationship.
stakeholder in Rehoboth. As I said last time, this came up about a year ago. Things in Rehoboth move like on church time. Vehemently opposed to this. The only reason to do a designation is to freeze it in time. And you guys don't have enough credibility with a fair swath of the community that there's not some ulterior motive to this. And if there's a selection of anybody who's the same usual face as Stan among the posse that's going to chair this, that just reinforces that lack of trust and that lack of transparency and that lack of confidence in an outcome, that this isn't more of the same about control of an asset of the city that is operating fine without any kind of historical designation. And the only reason historical designations are done is in order to limit something, prevent something, or isolate something. And to do otherwise is kind of silly. If you want to call it something and put up a City of Rehoboth, historic thing that doesn't have any kind of control mechanism attached to it, great. I'm sure the community would be happy to recognize that. But the problem is, you only talk about the positive things. You don't talk about the other negative implications on any consideration about historical designations. As I mentioned last time, a year ago, and maybe we'll talk about it again next year. Maybe this won't go anywhere like it did last year. But I would vehemently oppose that. And if you do move forward, I hope your feet are held to the fire that somebody is chairing this that's not part of your regular posse.
Thank you, Tom. Anybody else? All righty, thank you. So please see me if you want to chair this committee, and we'll have a further discussion. Next on the agenda, community partner reports. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce, Public Library, and Main Street. They submitted reports which are embedded in the agenda, so you can see access them electronically. There is no old business, and we're going to move to new business. The first, again, the business order is A. We'll start with A. Consider appointments of 2 new advisory committee chairs, nominating Commissioner Mark Saunders as chair of the Public Safety Advisory Committee, nominating Commissioner Craig Thier as chair of Environment Advisory Committee. And I will say that when we get together this next week, when I get together with the chairs, we'll talk about the next steps forward. And one of those steps is likely to include finalizing or making suggestions on what the name of the committee is. These are ones that came up, but do you have a better name or multiple names you want to submit? That will be fine. So with that, I would entertain a motion to make the 2 appointments as noted.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ed Chernowski and a second by Commissioner Suzanne Good to appoint Commissioner Mark Saunders, Chair of the Public Safety Advisory Committee, and Commissioner Craig Thier as Chair of the Environment Advisory Committee. Is there any further discussion? Is there any public discussion? If not, all those in favor up here signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Congratulations, you 2 are now appointed as chairs. So we've got a little homework coming up in front of you. Thank you very much. Commissioner Markert.
Yeah, I just had a question. Has there been any outreach up to this point regarding the members of the sunsetted committees moving forward in terms of their ability to possibly reapply to any of these, or has anything taken place?
No, I expect to do, I have done that for the Beach and Boardwalk Committee. And this week I'll be doing that for the other 4 committees to thank them and advise them. And I believe I have sent something out, but I need to double check.
Okay.
So that I believe most of them, or at least the Boardwalk Committee was aware ahead of time that it's going to be sunset and that they can apply again, for instance, for these new commissions. But they need to be aware the mission statement is still yet to be finalized on these 2 committees. So yes, coming up. Thank you for reminding me. With that, the second bit of business is discuss and consider an ordinance to amend the municipal code, chapter 46, personnel, by creating a new section 41 titled Civility in the Workplace Policy. Gene, I think, Gene?
Ed, do you want to?
Yeah, let me
Taking
start
the
off
lead.
and then I'll hand it to Jean. So the Personnel Committee was made aware that the city did not have policies outside of a class-protected harassment claim, that there were no other mechanisms or policies within the city of Rehoboth Beach to deal with behavior that is just disrespectful, belligerent, anything that's and just lacking civility. So we were made aware of that. Jean and with the assistance of the city solicitor have put together a civility civility in the workplace policy that the Personnel Committee reviewed today, and it was their recommendation that this board adopt that policy. And I'll let Jean give you a little bit more about the background of the current policies and how this new policy or ordinance would fit into the new employee handbook, et cetera.
Okay, so like Commissioner said, we, in our code right now, the only type of workplace policy that we have for everybody getting along is basically the federal guidelines for harassment. So you really had to do something bad, and then it's going to harassment complaint. Most things can be nipped in the bud way before they ever get to an actual harassment claim. So this policy puts another policy into our code that just reminds everybody needs to have civility between each other, work together well, and sometimes people just need to be reminded that. This is above, I believe, what should be in a handbook. This is definitely something that should be in the code. It carries a little more weight by it being in the code and not just being in a handbook. So I'm going to read what the code is, just so everybody's on the same page. But I do want to note I'm going to read is slightly different than what is embedded in the agenda, as we added to the last sentence of it. So I'll tell you what's been added when I get to that part, but that's the only change from what was presented this morning to the Personnel Committee. We made that one change, and it's slightly different than what's embedded in the agenda.
And Jean, let me clarify. You say "we," that meant the Personnel Committee made that change?
Yes,
And
yes. So when
and so when you get to that one point, if you would explain where that is in there by line number perhaps,
Yep.
so that we understand it's a little different than what was embedded in the agenda. Do you have a question?
Just a question. Could you remind us who makes up the Personnel Committee?
Okay, so the Personnel Committee is Commissioner Schnowski, Commissioner Thayer, and Commissioner Saunders.
Thank you.
Okay, civility in the workplace policy. The purpose and scope. The City of Rehoboth Beach is committed to fostering a respectful, courteous, and professional work environment. This policy sets expectations for civil behavior among employees and between employees and members of the public. Definitions. As used in this section, the following terms shall have the meaning as indicated. Civility. Mannerly and courteous behavior characterized by respect for others and adherence to rules, regulations, and professional standards. Applicability of this policy applies to all full-time, part-time, seasonal, and temporary city employees, appointed and elected officials, volunteers, contractors, and members of city boards, commissions, and committees when acting in their official capacity. Policy statement. Employees of the city shall treat each other, members of the public, elected officials, and volunteers with dignity and respect. Likewise, employees are entitled to the same in return. All workplace interactions should reflect professionalism and mutual regard. Standards of conduct. Individuals are expected to communicate respectfully and professionally, avoid hostile, abusive, or inappropriate language or behavior, respect differing viewpoints, backgrounds, and roles, work collaboratively and constructively with others, uphold all applicable city policies and procedures. Violations and enforcement. Failure to comply with this policy may result in corrective or disciplinary actions actions up to and including termination in accordance with the city's disciplinary procedures. Violations by appointed officials, boards, commission members may be addressed through removal of service as permitted by law or policy. Elected officials are expected to adhere to this policy as a matter of ethical responsibility and public trust. Concerns about conduct of elected or appointed officials may be addressed through public accountability, referral to appointment ethics bodies when applicable, actions by commissioners, or other lawful means. The section that is added to this version is the action online. At the very end of the last sentence, we added actions by commissioner, or the Personnel Committee added actions by commissioners or other lawful means.
Line 65.
Yeah.
This right here was added to what's embedded in the
Yes.
agenda. Are there any questions by the commissioners?
Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Good?
I'm a little concerned that there's not a particular definition here of what constitutes rude or uncivil behavior. So there's a lot of interpretation. And as we've seen, I know that back last, I think it was October, you vehemently expressed objections to members of the public and the way they had contacted, I guess, members of the commission. We've had some other conflicts which have arisen, and I'm worried that administrators, or in this particular case, the mayor, could potentially sideline people who disagree with policies or proposals. So I'm concerned about that aspect of it. And, I mean, we all know, all of us have sent a harsh email or two. Sometimes you need a little conflict to achieve anything. So I'm worried that we don't have specific standards here, and you know, I think we're going to struggle. I think this is just going to lead to a lot of consultations with Mr., I think his name is McMacken, the employment attorney up in Wilmington. So I wonder if anyone else has some concerns about this.
Mayor, if I could, please.
Patrick, did you want to say, Commissioner Thayer?
I'm going to make the same comment that I made this morning for those of you who watched the video. You know, generally, I'm okay with the policy, or I'm good with the policy, so to speak, but I think there needs to be a delineation between the individuals, and the individuals to me fall into two groups. There's the commissioners, which are the 7 of us, and then there's the non-commissioners, which not only includes the employees, but it will include, you know, volunteers, interns, other people that, you know, have business with the city. And when it comes to the non-commissioners, right, which is basically everyone other than the 7 of us, you know, we have a responsibility to ethically and legally to provide a respectful workplace. And I think I know I'm on board with that, and I suspect everyone else is on board with that. When it comes to the 7 of us, there's certain rules that simply don't apply. But whether we're in a public meeting or outside of a public meeting, you know, this is a two-way street, and we all need to be respectful to each other. There are issues that we're going to discuss that we're going to be passionate about, and people should be passionate about things, and people should be allowed to be passionate about things and be given the opportunity to be passionate about things. But again, it's a two-way street, so we've got to have respect back and forth. As it is specific, Commissioner Good, to what you were bringing up, you know, to me, that probably falls more in, you know, as it relates to non-commissioners, right? So employees and so on. As it relates to employees interacting with each other, again, that's really for the city manager and Ms. Ogden and Ms. Lee to deal with. I think, again, back to us as commissioners, we've got to be respectful not only to ourselves, but understand that the city has a responsibility, not only ethically, but legally, to provide a respectful workplace to our employees. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else? You know, I find this is dominating, pointing to employees. But again, it does mention Board of Commissioners individually. And I guess I want to make sure, and maybe ask the city solicitor, with respect to things that I've seen or observed or heard applicable to Board of Commissioners. Do you think this is adequate to cover name calling? There's in the past, particular staff members been called Miss Frizzy. Does this cover name calling?
Yes, Mayor, I think it does. I think the point being for elected officials is that concerns about conduct may be addressed through public accountability, peer communication, referral to appropriate ethics bodies when applicable, and you know, other means as necessary.
Okay, so again, I just want to make sure this covers some of what I've observed.
I think we would hope that not because of this policy, but just generally speaking, that the email communications are respectful, just generally.
Well, Commissioner, is it proper, is this cover commissioners that refer to staff as the mayor's whore or the mayor's bitch? I would hope it covers that. Does it cover commissioners that call out staff or anybody as incompetent in public session? Does it cover commissioners who call out solicitor or interim city solicitor as incompetent? Does it cover commissioners misstating information, misinforming and misleading? Does it cover overall nastiness in communications with others? Does it cover interfering in projects and interfering with city manager? Those are some things that I want to make sure that they take care of. I think they're covered in here, but I just wanted to state, I'm not sure that this goes far enough, but I do think it's a good start. Anybody else up here? Commissioner Marker?
I mean, I'm just maybe continuing the conversation here, but, I mean, do you feel that we need to basically segregate this out or to break it apart to address certain things with regard? I certainly agree with what Commissioner Thiers has proposed, that at the very least, we need basically protection, to the non, however you want to define that. I would just say staff. But at the same time, a lot of what we see, and I'm not necessarily saying that this is the only thing that takes place or is concerning, but I'm just basically proposing or asking the kind of rhetorical question: do you feel, or does anyone feel that we need to sort of bolster a separate policy?
I'm not sure I can name it right now.
Yeah.
When you have a commissioner or commissioners that they don't respect the gavel, don't respect the chair, what can you do? I wish there was a little policy thing that we could enter in there to deal with that, But when you've got people that are willing to thumb your nose at the whole process up here, I'm not sure that we can do anything about it. And that's what I wish this could go a little farther.
Mayor?
Commissioner?
No, go ahead, Patrick.
Thank you. Just curious, in the question of definitions or what have you, have the state code addressed any of these types of things for state employees that we could parallel, or is that a whole different ball of wax?
I didn't know if you were looking for something that you had it on your hand.
I mean, we were provided and looked at the, sorry, let me pull it up here. The Delaware Department of Human Resources Standards of Conduct, Policy, and Procedures. And I believe that there were aspects of that are included in this. Listen, I don't disagree with the mayor that potentially this could use some more teeth. It could be a little bit more detailed, but I think right now, I think it does a good job to put something in place that reminds everyone that we need to do better at working more respectfully and without name calling and doing other things that, listen, at the end of the day, our staff are one of our most valuable assets in this city, and it is what makes this city, besides the beach, it makes what people want to come and live here and visit, and I think this puts us in the direction that we need to go in order to ensure that we're protecting our employees.
Mayor, if I could, please.
Commissioner Thier?
Yeah. So, look, I concur with that. I think what is here is good. But I want to come back to, kind of a specific term that I used in my earlier statement, which this is a two-way street, okay? And that as commissioners, we are going to be passionate about certain issues, and we'll probably raise our voice, and we'll probably get, I hate to use the term emotional, because really that's synonymous with passion. But my point with the two-way street, Mayor, is that you can't blame all of us, right? You made a statement just a few minutes ago, kind of blaming all of us for kind of thumbing our nose at the process. You have a responsibility as mayor to administer this meeting and keep this meeting under control. And that's really part of my underlying two-way street, is that it requires all of us, you as the mayor, to control the meeting, as well as each of us to respect each other, understand and appreciate that we're going to feel passionate about certain issues, and we have the right as commissioners to speak out passionately about those issues. But again, we want to be respectful. So kind of wrapping it back to Ed, I think what's in here makes sense at this point, and we can go forward. If it doesn't work out or it needs to be tweaked, then we can come back to it. Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, Commissioner. Tom, members of the public?
Tom Gaynor, practicing attorney and stakeholder, and I wholeheartedly support this proposal. This is one thing proposed that is directly beneficial to the people of this city. A code of this kind finally gives stakeholders a solid opportunity to hold city employees and elected officials directly accountable for their behavior. Some hypothetical examples. Say when building and licensing employees, maybe somebody similar to Joanne Perry or Matt Janis, through intentional behavior or maybe just lack of knowledge, some would say incompetence, but not me, officiously and condescendingly address residents in some following examples. Let's say a 25-year legacy employee illegitimately denies a fence permit, average cost of about $25, for reasons that she literally makes up and which are not subject to any written rule or governing law governing the city or its employees, thus requiring a permit applicant to get lawyers and involve the city's attorney to ultimately fix the dead wrong decision delivered with condescension and obnoxiousness by the legacy employee. Such actions are absolutely disrespectful, costly, unprofessional, and uncivil, and cost taxpayers in the city money both derivatively and directly to the tune of thousands of dollars just for a $25 permit denied due to grossly misinterpretation of their job and backed up with bluster. Or say, another example, the head of licensing goes out of his way to slander in Board of Adjustment testimony and libel in a submitted report a couple of homeowners who then have to sue the city and the BOA to have all the records nullified and voided in a Delaware court action and stricken ab initio. Lisa will know what that means, costing applicants in city the thousands of dollars in legal fees as a direct result, like maybe a stockade fence bordering a city lake, which could have seen a much better outcome through civil discourse and negotiation, which the homeowners attempted to no avail, and with the mayor directly perhaps, all over a $200 fence permit. Remember when a city consultant reached out to the Army Corps of Engineers in 2021 with no authority, asking them to seize a city asset and investigate a homeowner under a federal investigation? Well, now all of those activities will come under this code and thankfully now will be completely and satisfyingly actionable. Or take public meetings when maybe the mayor illegitimately libels and accuses certain citizens of being the equivalent of domestic terrorists on video because of vocal and legitimate criticism of private property power grabs orchestrated with a former commissioner in a one-on-one meeting that no one, putting together a proposal that no one took ownership of. The most garbage piece of legislation probably passed by this body, namely the tree ordinance. Or say other times when the mayor threatens any viewpoint he doesn't like during public comments and condescends in advance by reminding everyone in the audience there are policemen present with guns to intimidate the public and sadly attempt to shield himself from any kind of critical accountability. Or lastly, maybe when a new city lawyer, for instance, verbally and probably illegitimately attacks and abuses an elected official representing the people of this town, asking oversight questions on behalf of the people who contribute the money to run this operation in a grossly disrespectful fashion.
Thank you,
All
Tom.
of these actions now are actionable. Please pass this. I look forward to being able to use it.
Thank you, Tom. Anybody else? Your name and relationship to the city?
Roth, I'm a Rehoboth Beach resident. I think I'll say something very similar to the last gentleman, but perhaps in a more straightforward way, is be very careful of anything you pass like this because you hand the next person a loaded gun. I think we've seen that in the national government at this point. You pass something like this, you pass the long list of things, Mayor, that you said about people not respecting the gavel, things that are not clear. You hand the next person a loaded gun, you hand the next set of commissioners an loaded gun. When the gavel's passed, all of a sudden it becomes the interpretation of the person with the gavel. So I'd be really careful about including the commission in any of this. Certainly, employees should be governed by something. I don't know if it belongs in the code or not, but the commission should be very careful about passing something like this.
Thank you, Colin. Walter?
Good afternoon, Walter Birmingham, 123 Hanopen Avenue. A different approach. Suzanne's comments at a previous meeting, I think, drove some of this, and there was no denial of what was said, and that's part of the problem. We had a city manager hiring, and the mayor said that there would be an upcoming white paper, and then he said, we're not going to produce it. The city put in a dock and a bank, et cetera. There was controversy at the time, and in the end, the city voted for it, so be it. And right now, it's the canal bank and not the dock that's the problem. We had Doble Beach, and Evan worked at it. It came up with a couple meetings. And then to those of you that were present at the time, you kicked the can down the road. It was wrong. So what happened is, with the administration, employees, testimony of lawyers, new people and old people, the truth should always prevail. And people should be forthright, and you shouldn't have to swear people in. But the people we don't believe the most are the people that are making the rules, and you, Mr. Mayor, because anymore, you change the words every time the rules on the back of the agendas. There's no two that have matched up perfectly. You keep adding words, you're making the rules as you go along. So we don't swear in consultants or contractors. We don't talk about car towing. We hide anything that we don't want to talk about. So the truth starts with the front table. And to have to propose something like this is wrong. The rule in the city should be, when you talk to a city agency, you should get an honest answer. They should find one for you and give it back whether you like it or not. But you don't tell the blanket truth does not come out, and it all starts with you. You don't need this. You just, in Rehoboth, it should be, you should be forthcoming and you should tell the truth. And all the agencies and the people, and if everybody did that, you wouldn't have some of the problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Walter. Anybody else? Come ahead. Wait, say that again at the mic.
Resident, and actually, all my interactions with the city employees they've been extremely kind to me. I want to say thank you. The one point I would make, though, is the point of this disciplinary procedure that's going to apply to you all. To me, that's very dangerous. We want aggressive, forceful debate, because sometimes you're going to be in a 5-to-1 majority, and sometimes you all will find yourself in the one minority. I don't want to pick on Commissioner Good, but if she should be able to advance her position aggressively, forcefully, with her true concerns, and that should be respected by the majority. And I think this is something that can be used very easily by the majority to force Commissioner Good to shut up. And I, for one, want to encourage Commissioner Good to speak up, as well as Ed and the rest of you. You should have a forceful debate here. And I can't believe that any citizen or resident of Rehoboth Beach is going to be benefited by a policy that tampers down the debate. The passionate debate among the 6 of you should be encouraged. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Carolyn?
Carolyn Diefendorfer, city resident. I'm just going to read a couple things that if you Google civility in the workplace and some definitions, I think this is very important. I don't think it discourages people from having differing views. I think it needs to address how those views are presented and, what's expected. And it says in the workplace, civility refers to the practice of treating colleagues with respect, courtesy, and consideration, even when disagreements arise. It involves actively listening to others, acknowledging diverse perspectives, and managing conflicts constructively. Civility is more than just basic politeness. It's about fostering a positive and inclusive environment where everyone feels valued and contribute effectively. I think everybody should feel comfortable in expressing their views, but I do believe they have to be expressed at the proper time in the agenda. And I think that's where the big issue was in the last meeting. I don't think this policy should prevent anybody from feeling like they can't give their views. I think it just it's addressing how we all react with each other. Differing views are good. But people have to also understand that because there are differing views, their view may not be the view that everybody goes with. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. Anybody else? Thank you. So I bring that back to the commissioners' table. If anybody wants to act on this, then I would entertain a motion or further discussion.
Mayor.
Commissioner Cernowski.
Yeah, I appreciate some of the public comments that were just made, and especially that by Mr. Ellis. I in no way want a policy like this to make us not speak our minds and have opinions and be passionate about some of the opinions that we have. And I like the way that Commissioner Thier earlier tried to delineate that there's two different things here, right? This is us acting as elected officials amongst ourselves, and us that are policymakers, and us being passionate about what we're passionate about. What I want to address, and what is more important for me, is the interactions with employees here. I mean, the mayor referenced a few things that have been said to specific employees. The mayor's bitch, the mayor's whore, a Biden hack. I mean, these are specific things that elected officials around this table have said to employees. And that is inappropriate. It should not be the workplace that we want to encourage here. Mr. Gaynor also mentioned, it's a two-way street. There's also accountability for how employees interact under this policy too, and I think that's important. And it's something that the city has never had. So I appreciate some of the comments about you've got a loaded gun here now, and the next mayor, the next group of people may interpret these definitions differently, but I think this is a step in the right direction, and I think it's something that we need to remind ourselves that our greatest asset here, one of our greatest assets, is our employees, and they make this town run pretty flawlessly, and it helps be one of the greatest places to live and visit. And I don't want to lose some of great employees that we have because of name calling and just inappropriate behavior. So it's kind of where I'm at on this.
Are you interested in making a motion
I would happily do that.
that incorporates the additional language that's up on the screen?
Mr. Mayor, may I first clarify something?
Commissioner Good?
I think sometimes there's a failure to be specific or detailed. We have some examples, I believe, that have just been cited, which could be someone citing what someone else said. So I hope you will be clear about some of the examples you provide because there are occasions when we commissioners will transmit something or report something that we've heard from a citizen. So I don't think you should attribute comments directly to people unless you have specific evidence of that. You also can't attribute comments to people if they haven't directly said something to another person, but rather learn of a statement through someone else. I mean, it's a slippery slope when you're using hearsay there in the case of what I just heard. So I'm a little concerned already. A lot of this can be arbitrary in the case of the commissioners. And because you are, more or less in control of the agenda, it's hard for commissioners who may have a dissenting view on a topic to be able to have their views aired unless they're a little forceful about it. That's what's happened in recent weeks or months even. So I hope when you cite examples, you don't confuse the source.
Thank you. Commissioner Shanowski?
I move we amend Chapter 46 Personnel of the Municipal Code of the City of Rehoboth Beach by creating a new section 41 titled Civility in the Workplace Policy. As presented and modified, as amended by the addition of comma, action by the commissioners or other lawful means, to the last paragraph of the ordinance on line 65 of the ordinance that was embedded in the agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ed Chernowski and a second by Commissioner Patrick Gossett to adopt the ordinance in front of us, amending Chapter 46 Personnel of the Code of Rehoboth Beach by creating a new Section 41 titled Civility in the Workplace Policy and incorporating the modified language presented before us by the HR Director. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
You have discussion?
I'm concerned about the addition because that was added, I guess, just prior to the meeting, and it makes it sort of adds to the disciplinary actions which can be taken against commissioners. And we were just given it at like 1:58 p.m., as you may recall, ahead of this meeting. So it's sort of like that's been thrown at us. I would be less uncomfortable with this if that hadn't been added. So I'm not sure that's I think the way it's been approached is a little fraught because you added something that changes the whole structure of it. It sort of adds a layer of discipline action against commissioners.
Thank you, Commissioner. You stated your opinion. We'll see if during the vote anybody else has the same opinion or votes against it for the same reason. I'm going to do a roll call vote. Again, this is to adopt the ordinance in front of us, codifying civility in the workplace policy. Commissioner Mark, wait a minute. I started with Mark last time. I'll start with Susan this time. Commissioner Good?
I need to vote nay because of the sudden addition of language that's quite restrictive toward elected officials.
Commissioner Shanowski?
Aye.
Commissioner Gossett?
I vote aye based on the recommendation of the Personnel Committee, hoping that this will have a positive impact on the morale and the workplace culture here in the city of Rehoboth Beach.
Commissioner Markert?
I vote aye for the reasons that Commissioner Gossett stated.
Commissioner Thier?
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye also and agrees with Commissioner statements. With that, the vote passes, 6 yeses and 1 no. Thank you very much. Thank you. We're done with this topic. We're done with this topic. No. Our next, we are done with this topic. You do not have the floor, Walter. Why do you need to do that?
Does everybody up there have it right? You were given it in writing, but the public was not.
With that, we'll move on to the next item of business, which is new business B. Consider appointments.
Mayor, if we could back up again for a second, you're not going to like this, but he's not wrong.
Well, your personnel committee adopted a change this morning with oral. Oral.
25.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. With that, again, we are on business B, consider appointments of election officers to be assigned to the 2025 Rehoboth Beach Annual Municipal Election.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I will recuse myself, given that my husband is one of the 3 candidates in this year's municipal election. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll wait for you to leave the room. So I'm going to turn it to you in a second, but to finish reading, consider appointments of election officers to be assigned to the 2025 Rehoboth Beach Annual Municipal Election. Number 1, Inspector of Elections, Maria Vendetti. Number 2, election officers and judges of the electors, Paul Anderson, Barry Brandt, Jennifer Duncan. Number 3, official poll workers, Patrick Connolly, Tara Esquivel, Brant McCormick, Donna Moore, Joanne Perry, Steve Perry, unrelated, Tracy Rummel, Ann Womack, Jennifer Goodman as alternate, and Vicki Hatton as alternate. And the city solicitor has a comment.
In addition to considering the appointment of Max Walton to be special counsel for election matters on election day as well.
We can combine B and C together at the same time for a single motion at that time. Do you?
I have to, yeah. This action is being taken in accordance with the charter of the City of Rehoboth Beach and the Delaware State election laws. Specifically, Section 7C of the city charter provides that the election shall be held under the supervision of the election officials. The election officials shall consist of 1 inspector of the election and such officers of the election as shall be appointed by the Board of Commissioners. The inspector and such officers constituting the election officials shall be qualified voters of the City of Rehoboth Beach and shall be appointed for that purpose by the Commissioners at least 2 weeks before such annual municipal election. The charter and the state code are silent on the criteria for the election officials. So has been the City of Rehoboth's practice, vetted candidates to prevent electioneering, which is prohibited. The individuals have not signed petitions for candidates, are not related to candidates, have not posted yard signs, conducted fundraisers, and the like. The action has been in consultation with the chair of the City of the Rehoboth Beach Board of Elections. In addition, the board is also being asked to appoint Max Walton as special counsel for the election. Counsel has always been present during the election. Unfortunately, I am unable to attend, and Max will be in my stead. The appointments to be made today are a legal requirement and a critical step in ensuring that the upcoming election is conducted in a lawful, impartial, and orderly manner, consistent with both state law and the city's charter. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions of the city solicitor?
Mayor, if I could,
Before I
please.
entertain a motion, Patrick, and then.
Just point of
Brad.
clarification, if I may, just the official poll workers as listed at item number 3, those are staff members of the city, correct?
Some are.
Some are. Thank you.
Commissioner Thier?
Yes. Question to the solicitor. So you mentioned electioneering. So with the 3 candidates that are being nominated here as election officers and judges of the electors, you have no concerns about any electioneering? And I may not have stated that correctly. but I think you understand my question.
I do. In terms of our, well, I can't speak to, do I have any concerns about electioneering? Electioneering would occur at the time of the election, and that's something that is prohibited. We base our review as to whether or not the candidates are appropriate by virtue of things that might include them being tied to a candidate or involved in election activities, hence the yard signs or fundraising or things like that. Yes, we are confident that these individuals meet the criteria.
Okay, great. Thank you.
With that, I'd entertain a motion to approve the appointments of those nominated, including the appointment of Max Walton as special counsel.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ed Chernowski and a second by Commissioner Patrick Gossett to accept the appointments at the slate in front of us, including Max Walton to be special counsel for election matters on election day. Are you okay with that wording? Is there any further discussion? Are there any members of the public want to say anything on this? If not, identify yourself.
Tom Gaynor, stakeholder. So Max Walton was responsible for the most outrageous action against Commissioner Good at the beginning of this year, which for the first time forced a recusal based on something that happened before she was even elected a commissioner. I objected to his conduct at the time, and I'm kind of curious as to why in a election where another Good is a candidate, is Max Walton, of all people, going to be in charge of the arbitrariness of whether or not the election's conducted fairly? That makes no sense. With all of the plethora of lawyers available in Rehoboth, why would you go after the one guy who's on video orchestrating an illegitimate recusal on an issue that predated her election to this board? It stinks. The appearances of it are bad, and you should know better as a lawyer. And if you didn't know about that, somebody should have told you.
Thank you, Tom. We'll respond to that with our votes. With that, we have a motion on the floor and a second. I want to start with rotating here. Ed Chernowski,
Aye.
Commissioner Gossett,
Aye.
Commissioner Markert,
Aye.
Commissioner Thier,
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders,
Aye.
Commissioner Good, whoops, she is recused and not present in the room, and the mayor votes aye. And so of the commissioners present, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yeses, and the motion passes. Thank you very much. With that, we'll move on to the next item of business, which is executive session for the purpose of discussing sales or leases of real property pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act, 29 Del C, 10,004. What? Oh, yeah. She's supposed to be watching TV coming back in.
Mayor?
You want to do a motion?
Yeah. I move we enter an executive session for the purpose of discussing sales or leases of real property pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA 29 Del C 10,004 B2.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ed Chernowski and a second by Commissioner Patrick Gossett to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing sales or leases of real property pursuant to Freedom of Information Act, 29 Del C, Section 10,004 B2. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Commissioner Good?
Oh, two quick notes. I didn't realize you would group B and C together, and I would share concerns since in past years we have not had a special counsel on election matters, to my knowledge. Is this a new role you decided we should fund with having Mr. Walton in this role?
No, Commissioner Good. Historically, we have always had counsel present. Unfortunately, I'm unable to be there that day, and Mr. Walton will serve in my stead.
So for 8 hours, he will be present and paid at his, I think, $450 an hour rate to perform this? Is that correct, more or less?
It won't be 8 hours. The attorney typically just comes for the certification, I believe, so it's a few hours.
A few hours, okay.
And this was mentioned, I believe, in the city solicitor's interview that this was one of the dates that she was already had a previous engagement.
Okay, second issue, since the city has engaged the services of an appraiser, and we used city funds for that to appraise these properties, I'm wondering if all of this consideration of leases of real property has to be an executive session, as opposed to some of it could be back in public session.
There will be a portion in public that's agendized item F.
Right, that would be almost a vote on the sale of it before the public's had a chance to learn what this property is or what
No.
these
That's
properties
the
are.
purpose of the public hearing, for the public to have the ability.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So, yeah, so once we've been in an executive session, we will only come out in order to vote about whether to hold a public hearing. No problem, thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. With that, we have a motion on the floor and a second to go into executive session again for the purpose of discussing sales or leases of real property pursuant to Freedom of Information Act reference, which is cited. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? And preface notes before we recess to go into executive session. For members of the public, the duration is unknown. We will relocate to the caucus room. The public can stay in the commissioner's room if you like. You can also choose to leave, and if you leave us your phone number, we can text you with some notice to return to public session. No action will be taken in executive session. Actions, if any, would occur back in public session. There will be an additional opportunity for public comment when we are back in public session, and we would adjourn from public session. Is there anybody that wants a text to be notified? Again, we don't know how long we'll be. All right, seeing none, we are recessed into executive session. Thank you. Commissioners, I'll take a motion to come out of executive session, back into public session.
I move we exit executive session and go back into public session.
We have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ed Chernowski and a second by Commissioner Bunky Marker to come out of executive session back into public session. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, and we are now back into public session. Would like to remind everybody that everything that has happened in executive session is to remain confidential. Except for, of course, for this business that's now in front of us. The next item of business is F on the agenda, possible consideration of adoption of a resolution or resolutions setting public hearings or hearings, plural, on the sale or sales of real property. Like for Mr. Tedder to give a brief introduction here, and then I'd like the city solicitor to read the resolution in front of us.
Sure, Mr. Mayor. So the subject property that we're looking to set a public hearing on through this resolution is on Virginia Avenue. City staff was approached by a local property owner who is looking to make their lot into a conforming 5,000 square foot lot that's involved with 3 different homes on one parcel that would then be able to no longer be in a LLC lease, land lease, and be able to be partitioned into conforming lots for those homes. So it's 1,463 square feet of parkland adjacent to that property at the terminus of Virginia Avenue.
City solicitor, if you would please read the resolution.
Resolution by the Mayor and Commissioners of the City of Rehoboth Beach proposing that a public hearing be held on the subject of the potential sale of approximately 1,400 square feet of city-owned parkland located at Virginia Avenue, tax parcel number 334-14.13-299. Whereas the Mayor and Commissioners of the City of Rehoboth have deemed it desirable to consider the question of whether to sell approximately 1,400 square feet of real property owned by the city located at Virginia Avenue, Sussex County, Rehoboth Beach. Whereas Section 41 of the city charter provides in relevant part that, quote, the sale or conveyance of any real property must be approved by the majority vote of the commissioners after a public hearing held in relation thereto, end quote. Now therefore be it resolved by the Commissioners of the City of Rehoboth Beach in session met this 18th day of July 2025 that a public hearing shall be held pursuant to Section 41 of the City Charter of the City of Rehoboth Beach on the 15th day of August 2025 at 2 p.m. to consider the question of whether it is in the public interest to sell the approximately 1,400 square feet of real property owned by the city located at Virginia Avenue, Sussex County, Rehoboth Beach. Be it further resolved, the parties in interest and citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard at said public hearing. Be it further resolved that this resolution to hold a public hearing shall be printed at least 15 days prior to said public hearing in an official paper or paper of general circulation in the city.
Thank you, Lisa. With that, I would entertain a motion to adopt the resolution before us.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
Before we-
Commissioner Good?
Before we have a motion, as I stated in executive session, I think it's important that the public, as soon as possible, not just when the notices about the public hearing go out, that this would involve sale of city parkland to allow more development than is currently adjacent to it now. And, the amount of open space in the city keeps shrinking, in my view, so I think the public may want to get involved in whether this is the road the city should be going to allow homeowners to increase the size of what they desire to build.
I would entertain a motion to adopt the resolution before us.
Mayor, I move that the City of Rehoboth Beach set a public hearing to be held on the subject of the potential sale of 1,432 square feet of city-owned parkland located at Virginia Avenue, tax parcel number 334-14.13-299.00 on August 15th, 2025 at 2 p.m.
In other words, you move to adopt the resolution
I
before
move,
us.
yes, I move to
Okay.
adopt the resolution before us.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ed Chernowski and a second by Commissioner Patrick Gossett to adopt the resolution before us, proposing that a public hearing be held on the subject of potential sale of approximately 1,400 square feet of city-owned land located at Virginia Avenue, as noted in the resolution. Is there any additional comment up here? Any members of the public? Tom?
Tom Gaynor, stakeholder in Rehoboth. So by the very definition and the predicate of the resolution, it doesn't benefit the public. It benefits one property owner. With the diminishment of public parkland for the benefit of a private property owner with a city asset, I'm not quite sure what the rationale is for this, particularly when for those of us who actually have conforming lots, every other piece of legislation you guys consider is a way to diminish my property rights. I point to the tree ordinance. Assets that we own, you want to control, but yet one property owner has a non-conforming lot and you want to take 1,400 square feet of public parkland to then benefit a private property owner. I hope that you're not going to do that in the dead of August when there'll be 3 people here for a substantial decision that smacks of sort of insider dealing. I'd love to know what the rationale to benefit a single property owner is. If any of you, possibly on the record, could articulate benefiting parkland to a private property owner. Anyone? Anyone? I have 1:45 left.
I would say it's concerning to me that this was brought before us because the property owner in question purchased with full disclosure of what he or she owned at the time.
Any of the other 6 potted plants that want to speak up on behalf of the public? And not just Commissioner Good, who's the only one on a consistent basis who speaks on behalf of the public? Anyone?
I'd like to make a statement.
Do you want to talk about the rationale for benefiting a private property owner? That's the question before you, Bunky. Benefiting a private property owner with public land. If you don't have anything to say on that, you can talk on your time. I have 58 seconds left.
Well, thanks for running the meeting for us. Okay?
I'm sorry?
I'm merely saying we're voting to have a public hearing where all these details will be presented to the public.
The fact that you're even contemplating the issue is offensive to
May be
any private-
offensive, but
I'm not
it's-
done. It's my time.
Bonky.
The fact that you're considering it is offensive, given every other property right that the guy sitting to your left and all of you have done to seize property rights on things that we own. We all make the mistake of thinking that we own the right title and interest to the trees on our property. You made clear that that's not the case, and this guy makes up issues for things he doesn't want to see. Remember Matt Gaffney, who then put his property for sale after you did the ridiculous street and tractor trailer proposal? You guys are a bit of a joke. You don't have the ability to have credibility to sell public land.
See you at the meeting.
Time, Bunky.
Okay.
I want to call the question. Remember, this is the motion on the floor is to adopt the resolution before us, setting a public hearing. Commissioner Gossett?
Aye.
Commissioner Markert?
Aye.
Commissioner Thayer?
Yes.
Commissioner Saunders?
Yes.
Commissioner Good?
I vote no because this is a dangerous precedent to be selling off the fixed supply of parkland in the within city limits of Rehoboth Beach, so I vote no.
Commissioner Chernowski?
Given the facts, the circumstances, and the current use of land, I think it's reasonable to, for this consideration. I vote aye.
And the chair votes aye because this is merely setting a public hearing, not making a decision. And with that, the motion carries, setting a public hearing, 6-1. With that, is there any additional citizen comment? This is typically for comments not on topic. Anybody?
In for a penny, in for a pound. Tom Gaynor, stakeholder in Rehoboth. The civility thing was actually fascinating. I know I'm not going to talk about the agenda issue. The hypocrisy of it was fascinating. When you watch the last meeting and the outrageous behavior by the new city solicitor and by you, Mr. Mayor, and your condescension at the beginning of the discussion that actually impugned the people of Rehoboth. So the topic I'm talking about is respect for the people of Rehoboth. You have demonstrated such a profound lack of respect for the people that pay for this operation on a consistent basis. Through your arrogance, your condescension, your complete harassment of Commissioner Good, which is evident to all on YouTube. At every meeting, this guy can yell at you to no response from you. She asks a legitimate, apparently, question based on the facts as they unraveled over the last 2 weeks. She gets harassed, you bang your little thing on the desk, you try to silence her, and then this one picks up the gavel first. In the veil of civility, you're a disgrace to the profession of being a lawyer if you don't apologize to the representative of the people. That should have been the first thing that you did in your solicitor report. And the fact that you didn't apologize is disgraceful and disrespectful to me as a citizen, me as a taxpayer, as well as every other taxpayer that's responsible for paying for this operation. And frankly, as an employee, the potted plant to your left, Mr. Mayor, should have fired her on the spot. The analogy of any private board of directors, that behavior would have never been acceptable. It would have been immediately terminable and certainly would have been actionable by the shareholders. I'm shocked that a member of my profession would have behaved in such a disgraceful fashion. I spoke against your hiring without even knowing who you were. I'm sad to say, I think I'm validated in the criticism I brought to the table about even hiring for this position. And I'm shocked at the rest of you to watch it happen. Commissioner Saunders, you weren't here. Commissioner Tranowski, you weren't here. Expected better of you. When that happened, and this harassment continues, where is your self-respect and integrity to come to her defense as a member elected with you for accountability? You're borderline collusive at this point, and it's disgraceful. I'm embarrassed for all of you. That behavior last week, I hope, is never repeated. She has a legitimate oversight opportunity to ask questions on behalf of me and other people who sent her here. And how dare you bang your little thing on the table to try to shut her down for legitimate questions? And how dare you ever speak to a member elected again like that?
Thank you, Tom. Anybody else? Go ahead. Colin?
Collins Roth, property owner. Just on that subject, 100% agree. Couldn't have said it better. I'm here to talk about something different. A young lady was nearly killed on a bike less than a block from here 10 days ago. 21-year-old leaving work, struck by a drunk driver. She's lucky to be alive. Pleased to see the community reaction. There's a GoFundMe, which has raised about $10,000, and I hope people would consider supporting that. I would have loved to have seen a response from the city about this, a discussion perhaps about this. And I'd really be interested to know how the city thinks, the police department thinks about how we can make sure this doesn't happen again. There's a concept of Vision Zero, of not having people killed on bicycles. And I'd love to see the city have a plan to make sure that this doesn't happen with time, that we protect people on bicycles. And I'd love to see the police department stop harassing people who are biking on the sidewalks, which I've seen 3 times in the last 2 weeks, mainly because they're scared of getting killed. Just a thought there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, Commissioner announcements and comments? Anybody? Review future,
Mayor?
Commissioner?
To follow up, I appreciate Mr. Roth bringing up this topic, and I believe there at least baby steps are being taken where there's going to be a distribution of lights, I believe, because yes, for better or worse, a lot of employees leave work well after dark on these bicycles. I'm scared walking on the sidewalk, watching them on their bicycles with a steady stream of traffic heading west. And honestly, even when this happened, when I heard about this, I wasn't actually that surprised. The inebriation, of course, it seems obviously made things a lot worse. But you have drivers whose vision isn't that good, who are distracted. There are just so many reasons. So I think the police department is taking some steps. So that's the good news on that.
Thank you. With that, review future meeting dates. Our next meeting is Monday, August 4th. It's a workshop at 9 a.m. And with that, no further business. This meeting is adjourned at 5:01 p.m. Thank you very much.
People are waiting, Lisa. That was a missed opportunity.